This is Goku Sun DBZ, and welcome back for the third of 5 special reviews. And I've decided rather than do Street Fighter Unlimited issue number 7 for this review. You'll have to forgive me if I'm yawning because I am filming this at around 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So my apologies. But in the next video I do will be, of course, top 10 Street Fighter characters from the franchise. Now, this is going to be a discussion / review of season number 1 of Dragon Ball GT. And the reason why I'm reviewing GT prior to the 2 series that were around first is because I've been lately rewatching GT, so I'm going to discuss it since it's a little bit fresh in my mind as of right now. Okay. As we all know, at least if you've ever watched Dragon Ball GT, is that we start off with, of course, the Phation training between Goku and Oob, which is, of course, Boo spelled backwards. Yeah, no originality on names, anyways. But we see a classic villain from the Dragon Ball era, who comes and tries to, of course, steal Dragon Balls, though they discover, of course, he even talks about that these Dragon Balls were made when Kami and Piccolo were one in the same, one being, of course, before they separated for a long time there. And to these Dragon Balls, you get one wish, as the original, of course, did. But with the Black Star Dragon Balls, of course, the wish is much more potent, more powerful. And the planet on which the wish is made on will just blow up in 1 year from the day that the wish was made. And, of course, Pilaf with his 2 stooges try to steal the Dragon Balls, Mai and Shu, which are old and stuff, and then somehow they end up children in Dragon Ball Super. I'm still not quite sure as to because they never really gave a reason why they were kids and stuff in Dragon Ball Super. Oh well. Who said logic may actually exist in the Dragon Ball universe, if you will. But one thing also about this is, ends up stressed up because Goku, they discovered, of course, Goku, of course, grown up, and quote, he looks like he has a body chiseled out of, what is it, marble? Something like that. And then he's like, he should have watched what he said about when he wished Goku was a kid and stuff like that. And, of course, the dragon overheard and made the wish. And then, phew, the Dragon Balls go away and scatter throughout the Milky Way, rather than scatter throughout the Earth. And it's kind of funny. And also, Shenron looks different. He, rather than being green with red eyes, he ends up being red with blue eyes. So that's interesting difference, and a little bit larger in overall size as well. And with that said, they, of course, team up originally. It was going to be Gohan, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Goku. But it ends up, of course, being Trunks, Goku, and Goku's granddaughter, Pan. And which, of course, now exists in the Dragon Ball Super universe. But she's like 2 or something. And in, of course, Dragon Ball GT, she's like 14 years old, a teenager. So, yeah. And, of course, they travel. Of course, she kicks the ship and causes a little bit of damage and then pushes some in front of it and acts like, nothing happened. But trust me, something did happen. It ends up very important. And of course, they travel to a planet. Now, not all the planets I'm going to mirror the exact name of, but the first planet they crash land on is called a Mecha. And there, they come across, try to look for part for the ship. They discover everyone is money hungry on this planet. Though that's thanks to the ruler of the planet called Don Key, with his two normal stooges and Legic, which is basically his right-hand fighter. Anyways, their spaceship gets stolen by Don Key's soldiers and stuff, so they end up having to steal their spaceship back. Ends up leading to a fight between Goku and Legic. Legic makes short work of Trunks. Now, Goku has to end up powering up and getting serious with Legic, though he only has to go a first form Super Saiyan to beat Legic. He's an interesting character and somewhat reminds me a little bit of actually Piccolo from the earlier days in the end. But then, next time, they go to a planet to try to stop this stupid creature with the tentacles who tries to destroy their planets. Of course, actually come to find out the tentacles actually can't cause earthquakes, it can only predict earthquakes. Tsunami, or Tsunama, is the name of the creature. Kind of felt like a flashback moment, like with, since one of the women of the village had to marry him. Kind of felt like a whole flashback to Dragon Ball with the girls and stuff in the village and Oolong, the transforming pig. That was interesting crossback to a story, a little bit of a storyline from the old Dragon Ball era, which is kind of cool. And also, I will say that one of the big things with this is, of course, they end up later also coming across the weird spatial cult called the Lude. Order of Lude. And it's basically this guy called Cardinal Muchi with a stupid whip and stuff, but basically they have to end up stealing, trying to take back a Dragon Ball that was stolen from them by some of his stooges called the Para brothers. And they have a stupid attack called where the Para dance, where they put down their vests, which end up turning into speakers and music players and stuff, and they keep doing stupid dance that looks like something that the Ginyu Force would have done, and ends up making Pan, Goku, and Trunks having to do that stupid freaking dance. One of the most dumb attacks I've ever seen created in the entire Dragon Ball Z universe. And that's saying something, because there's some really out there special moves and stuff. Oh, you want a reference from like Dragon Ball Z or something of a really ridiculous attack? How about where Majin Buu turns people into candy and chocolate and stuff? I mean, really, seriously? Come on. And with that said, a little bit later also, they come to find out then there's a higher up than Cardinal Muchi. He ends up, the whip ends up turning into a more powerful creature called Muchi. Then they discover Lude is actually just a robot, and this guy behind the curtain and stuff is the one calling the shots, but then you find out he's not really the one truly calling the shots. It's actually a character that you will come to know pretty decent over the next like 10 or so episodes of Season 1, which is Dr. Myuu. Dr. Myuu is just a spatial version of like Dr. Gero. And, of course, he has, like, green skin or something. Green or aqua. I'm not sure the exact shade. But, interesting character. And he sort of has, like, a German-type style accent. Oh, sure, I guess all Mad Doctors have to have a German-style accent with a ridiculous mustache. But instead of creating androids, like, of course, Dr. Gero, they're called machine mutants. And of course, they're also, with their travels, they stumble across a robot that ends up being their Dragon Radar, and they ends up joining the group called Giru. Kind of a ridiculous robot, but it's funny nevertheless. My apologies again for the yawning, but anyways, they end up coming to Planet Mu. And they end up coming across against the big baddie, who is the right hand of Dr. Myuu. And of course that is General Rildo, which is a very interesting character. He can spit out a beam out of his mouth that turns everything into metal. And yeah, as long as there's metal around General Rildo, which most of the planet is metal, he will always have a body to regenerate himself. As thing, as long as he has access to metal, General Rildo's body won't go anywhere. And his power is pretty impressive. I mean, Goku has to transform to like Super Saiyan, what was it, like Super Saiyan 3 or something just to beat him. And he even says that he hasn't faced anybody that strong as Rildo since Majin Buu. So that should tell you how powerful General Rildo is. He's on the same level as Majin Buu in power. And then there's a more impressive version of General Rildo called Metal Rildo, with a stupid drill for a hand, which is ridiculously overpowered. But we'll get ready to finish up Season 1 review, and towards the end, they end up getting turned into metal and stuff, which the way they're turned into metal and stuff, it kind of feels like a flashback reference to actually, of all things, Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Because the way they look when he turns them into metal, Trunks, Pan, and Goku, is actually sort of a metal case and stuff, and it looks like Han Solo frozen in carbonite. That's what they look like. They look like they're frozen in carbonite. It's kind of weird, to say the least. Just very odd to see that in Dragon Ball universe, Dragon Ball GT. And towards the end, of course, of Dragon Ball GT, we discover that Myuu had an ultimate project, and first we have a battle where Goku and Pan end up, of course, getting free and stuff, end up trying to get Trunks' body back from Myuu, and they end up falling and breaking the replica of Trunks, because you find out Trunks was already taken out of being metal thanks to Giru, and they were searching around looking for the ultra secret project of Myuu, which, come to find out, is a creature called Baby. Baby kind of reminds me a little bit, has a little bit of the head thing of like actually Boo, except he's not pink, he's made of metal, so he's like gray. And anyways, then they come face to face with the little baby, and he says, "Saiyans, kill." And they end up doing blasts together and blowing up what they think is left. A little piece of Baby survived, got into Myuu as Dr. Myuu left in his spaceship to space. They try to stop him and are too late from him escaping, and then he's like, "Baby," and stuff every time, and you start hearing a weird voice and stuff coming from Baby, and he ends up popping out of the chest of Myuu. Kind of felt like a reference to Alien, just saying. So that was very interesting, to say the least. And then you had, after that, him looking up at the planet and says, "I know 3 disgusting creatures that have to die today, and I know they won't be expecting me." Yep, and then you find out later on, they come face to face one more time on that medical plant. Then he escapes through a life form to Earth, and starts getting more and more powerful, reveals himself in a full, more grown-up version of Baby, with a different outfit and stuff. Ends up finding Goten, and ends up inside Goten, and to manipulate and control Goten. So, yeah. And then he ends up gaining control of him, uses him to manipulate, fight, and then also gain control over Gohan. And then he does the same tactic with Vegeta, which was his major goal, was to take over Vegeta. He did try to enter Goku prior and stuff, but failed to get in Goku. But then, of course, back in the past, he entered Trunks, but was able to control him. But later on, it's revealed that he still left a piece of himself inside Trunks' mind and uses it to gain control of Trunks, as well as Bola. But when he faces off against Vegeta to take control of him, Vegeta is like, huh, so one of you survived. I was scared for a moment. Almost. When he's like, huh, one of the Tuffles survived. And for those of you who didn't watch the first season or two of Dragon Ball Z, the Tuffles were a race of technologically advanced civilization, much like Earth in some areas. But the point is, they end up getting taken over and run by the Saiyans, end up taking over the Tuffle planet. And in his biggest quote, baby, and his biggest moment of arrogance, King Vegeta renamed the Tuffle planet after himself, Planet Vegeta, which of course became the home of the Saiyan race. But yes, that is the basic backstory. So they end up going full circle with the old era to do the final chapter with the Saiyans, I guess you could say, with fighting off against Baby. And of course, Goku comes back to the planet. They all do their powers and stuff around Baby Vegeta now, and he becomes bigger and buffer and more powerful. Oh yeah, he makes a wish on the Black Star Dragon Balls to summon Shenron, and then wishes for the Tuffle planet to come back, and ends up pretty much by Earth's orbit, about the same distance or a little bit closer than, say, our moon. But in the end, they end up doing a face-off, and of course Goku regains his tail, ends up turning into a Super Saiyan ape, a golden ape, if you will, and then ends up from that, through thanks to Pan, ends up discovering how to reach within himself to get stronger, and he becomes and gains his form Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which I think looks way cooler, honestly, overall design, than, say, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan with the weird blue hair. I prefer him with the black hair and that just ape/human combination body. And of course, again, to bring back the voice work of the one who did Adult Goku. I'm just happy about that. And anyways, in the end, the point is he's able to actually beat and defeat Baby Vegeta. So Boo has to escape. And then you discover, of course, the Earth is getting ready to blow up. And Piccolo decides to stay on the Earth when it does self-destruct. And just so no one can use the Black Star Dragon Balls ever again. So they end up doing that. But of course, since Dan Day is now on the planet, the Tuffle planet, they're able to summon Shenron. I think they end up wishing, actually, using Purunga, and wish back, of course, the Earth. And now you have basically, though they never address the Tuffle planet again after the end of Season 1. It's strange, they never reference it in Season 2 of Dragon Ball GT, though it's technically still up there, right by the Earth. For some reason, it's never referenced again, and I have not figured out why. It's very confusing, it makes my head hurt, and I may never get the answers I require. Anyways, that is basic review discussion on Dragon Ball GT, and of course, as you know, it had spoilers in it, obviously. Just remember, please thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, as well as Google+. And please tell me if you'd like me and want me to review Season 2 of GT. Of course, also with that, the GT movie, was it A Hero's Legacy? which evolves around the great-grandson of Goku Jr. Or great-great, because, yeah, it's the grandson of Pan. But anyways, I'll see you all again here soon enough for top 10 Street Fighter characters. Just remember, same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Kamehameha!